Folks, this is Joe Butterfield with Competitive Horsemanship. Today I'm here to talk to you about the physical flexibility in your horse. In order for him to have physical flexibility, he must first have mental flexibility. Where does he get his mental flexibility? He gets his mental flexibility from his human being flexible in the mind. So in other words, the human adjusts to fit the situation. Let me give you an example. So I was reading on Facebook the other day about a girl that was having trouble unloading her horse. And there's lots of great comments, and some of them were dead on right. But adjust to fit the situation. So how can you better prepare your horse for that situation before you actually get to the trailer? Like, you know, in your training, in your ground training. So like one of the girls said, back your horse out of the stall, back your horse in and out of the barn doors. My way would be back your horse over a fence post, then back him over top of a railroad tie. Then once you get that good, then maybe dig a little bit of a dip below the railroad tie, so when he steps back over the railroad tie that it goes down a little bit. So that's adjusting mentally to fit the situation, being flexible enough to adjust to fit the situation. A non-flexible horse can be seen with maybe a horse that sluggish going out on a trail ride when he's leaving the barn, but yet when he comes back he's jigging. Or any of the surroundings going around, like tractors driving around or whatever, he gets nervous or uptight, and then he loses concentration. He wants to go back to the barn. Having trouble with your horse's mental flexibility, go back and get his respect. Go back to the ground games and get his respect before you try and get his impulsion and before you try and get his physical flexion. In regard to physical flexion, there are two types of flexion. There's lateral flexion and vertical flexion. Lateral flexion is for control, vertical flexion is for communication. So in respect to lateral flexion, think of your horse as an arrow. The straighter he is, the stronger he is, and the further and faster he can go. The more bent he is, the less chance he has of going anywhere. Example, pulling on one rein, you can pull your horse around in a tight little circle. He gets base narrow on the hind end and it takes the power away from him. If he had his feet wide apart, he would be stronger, so he could be stronger to go further and faster. All right, so vertical flexion. Think of vertical flexion as a buggy whip. So if you hold on to the base and you bend the tip, which is the head and the neck, he gets strong over the top line and puts more power into the base. Now that can be a good thing as long as your horse has the right attitude. But if he has the wrong attitude, that can propel him into being stronger, to lunge, rear, pull on your hands more. So vertical flexion is a great way in getting your horse to do what you don't want him to do, but in a magnified way. On the other hand, using one rein for lateral flexion takes the power away from your horse. It causes him to get his legs underneath him, get base narrow, disengages the hindquarters, whereas if his hind legs are wide apart, then he has more power. He is engaged in a powerful position. Vertical flexion is a great thing to have power in your horse to cause him to be athletic as long as he is mentally prepared. Tomorrow with some good weather, hopefully I can demonstrate to you the lateral flexion and the vertical flexion. So follow me along on YouTube at Competitive Horsemanship, Instagram at Competitive Horsemanship, Facebook at Competitive Horsemanship. Any likes and comments are greatly appreciated. Down below, click the buttons. Any discussions that you would like me to discuss or have a half-hour long video about, by all means, leave a comment below. Thanks guys, have a great day.